Thank you, man. Oh, thank you. Hi, guys. My name is Purdy. I'm a recovered addict, and I'm a recovering human being, most definitely. And how beautiful is this, what we're doing here today? Absolutely incredible. The man sitting here is not the man that come into these rooms. That monster, that person, that avatar that I created over all those years. And here I get to see the truth. I get to live and breathe this program. And I get to see people put their lives back together. And I'm one of those people. I'm here to report. I'm one of those people that have found a peace. And you know, there's so many different speakers today, and it's so good to hear so many different people's experience, strength and hope. And that's what it's all about. Huh? That experience, strength and hope. And ultimately how you establish a relationship with God. Establish a relationship with God. I'm a South London street kid. I'm a cocaine addict. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an everything addict. I'm a love junkie is what I am, ultimately. And to come in here and to hear the word God and establish this relationship with and all this sort of stuff was gobbledygook to me. Like the big book, Bill and Bob and Jim and Fred and Wall Street and, you know, all these things. It wasn't my narrative. But how wonderful as time goes on, as this thing progresses, as this, you know, this triangle, unity, service and recovery, the blood from the fellowship, the ink from the pages, the service that I get to be with God. Someone said it earlier, do God's work, not God's job. Yeah, I came in a little bit about me really, just so you know, I just don't knock about CA meetings. I am here for a reason. It started off early doors for me. It was an early, you know, I was in a place I never wanted to be. Didn't make me an addict. People have said it before, but what it did is it put me in a position, it put me in a situation where I wanted out. I didn't want that feeling. For me, that trauma, that being adopted, that being in care homes, that being bounded about and not feeling part of. Obviously, when I was 12 years old and I found drugs. Thank you. I loved drugs. I loved them. Because what they did is they were my solution. They were my solution to how I was feeling up here, how I was thinking. And I went out. So I got away from that family home. I run away and I become a street kid. And I loved that. It wasn't tough. Even though I was sleeping rough and I was doing these things, I was so far devoid from that life that I fell in love with that life. The wanting, the hunting, the chasing, the needing, the looking, the living my life up here and not understanding anything about the internal or the heart. And going on this journey, gas canisters, one up each sleeve. I used to walk around with one up each sleeve. I loved them, wing, 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 that first instant feeling, smoking weed, hitting joints, hitting bongs, Rizzlers of speed. When was I, early 90s, so I was a rave baby. And I found love in the rave. I found love in that time, the piano tunes. That you're going to touch the sky, you've never been this high. And I was in. It was a movement, I suppose, like punk, like rock. You know, rave for me was that movement. I was surrounded by these DJs I wanted to be around. You know, Psy, Slipmatt, Dougal. These guys were heroes to me. I used to collect all their tapes, you know, and we used to get out of it. We used to take those E's, take that ecstasy. And oh my God, I loved it. I loved it. I loved cuddling people I didn't know. I loved being in amongst it, you know, and rubbing each other's faces and being part of that. I loved it. And, you know, drink and drugs for me, they disguised themselves as a party. I wanted that party. I wanted that to carry on. Acid came on the scene. You know, we were in that, we're dancing around the fires and believing I can control things with my mind. And it was incredible, an incredible time. Years rolled on, this progressive illness, this progressive thing. I don't want the party to stop, so I don't want to go to work. Crime becomes a big part of my life because I need to fund this habit. And it puts a darker twist on what was once a beautiful arena. And I start to get in there. I had a little bit of something about me. Talk about restless, irritable and discontent. I think I had a relationship with a desk sergeant at the police station. Because I got to a point in my crime sprees when before it got a bit serious with weapons and everything else, where I used to nick a car and then I used to ring them up and tell them what road I was on. I was like, all right, I've just nicked a car. I'm on Johnson Street. Come and get me. Because that was, and I used to have that relationship as a young kid, you know, with the desk sergeant and go in there and he'd go, Purdy, what are you doing? And I go, any messages for me? And we had this bit of banter and we had this relationship. But in the end, ultimately, you know, things lead to things get out of control. You know, my crack habit becomes a thing. You know, I'm smoking crack. I'm injecting heroin into my arms and I'm lost. I'm lost. That crime, that machete, that world, that darkness, I'm surrounded by, and I'm surrounded in this darkness. And I ended up in a situation which nearly took my life. Was it enough to stop me? Absolutely not. But it made me do that first big geographical, that change from South London to North London, because there's no drugs in North London. I don't know if anyone knows, but you're safe in North London. No, you're not. We're like magnets for this stuff. And, you know, I found a new love. I was out there. And I found Ralph Lauren white cloth shirts and white Reebok classics and sovereigns over every finger and earrings and birds and football and fighting, cocaine, pubs, fruit machines, gambling, whatever it was. I found a new life, a new thing that I could latch onto and be part of. And it was incredible. I loved it. I loved anything that took me out of self. So I'm in that world now. I end up getting in a fight. There's a football. I'm sticking up for these guys that I would die for, that I love, my family, because I've never had a family. And I end up going to prison and getting quite a hefty prison sentence. And it was in there I made a decision. I was never going to do this ever again. You know, the one that I've made 1,000 times before. The misery go round life that I live on. But I don't know any different. And I say when I'm in prison, when I come out of here, I'm going to change my life. I'm going to get a wife. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to get a job, and I'm going to completely change my life. And I come out of there and I did just that. But I didn't know what was happening inside of me. This darkness of my soul. This avatar that I created. All this pain and suffering and depression and anxiety and misery and character defects that we talk about, which I never knew anything about. I'm full of them. I'm rife. I'm taking this into my personal relationships. I'm taking this, talk about the bedevilments, I'm taking it into every area of my life. I meet someone, we fall in love. It's not hard to fall in love with me, because I'm a fucking liar. I'm a liar. I'm like Pretty Woman. I want a fairy tale. And what I'll do is I'll take you on that fairy tale. The big book describes it well as the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's me. I'm the dangerous one. I'm not the prison guy. I've been to prison, but I'm not the prison guy. I'm the other guy. I'm the captain of a football team. I'm the one you fall in love with. I'm the one that all your family fall in love with. And I'm the one that their kids fall in love with me and call me Uncle Purdy. And I build this great big network of love all around me because it's just how I want to feel. I lay in bed with you at night and I rub your hair and I stroke your feet and I tell you everything's going to be okay. And then I tear your fucking world down. I tear your world down and I don't mean to do it. I don't mean to be this person. I don't know what's going on. Once I start, I can't stop. And I'm in this life and I'm in this world. And I pull you down. And I pulled her down. She was an alcoholic. She had troubles. You know, I'm always running away. I'm always searching. I'm always looking. I'm always hunting. I'm always wanting. I'm always going missing. And I take my kids to school one day and I come home and she's not there anymore. As in she's dead. Because she's a prisoner of my mind and my ways. And I don't see when she held my hand and she said, please stop. And when my kids are crying and they say, Daddy, come on. Please stop doing this. And I go, okay. And I make a frothy emotional appeal, a contract, an agreement that I'll never ever do this again. And then I go and do it again. Because of the lie that lives inside my mind that this big book so beautifully teaches us and tells us. So, what do I do in that situation? A dead wife, 2 kids. I do what I know how to do. I get high. Because that's all I know how to do in that situation. And what I do is, I leave my kids in the care of her mum and dad. And like an agent of chaos, I tear myself through London. Not a care in the world. I hurt more people. I get into another relationship. I promise her the world. I'm moving from pillar to post and making geographicals. You know, I'm 45-year-old guy. I've lived in over 30 places in my life. Never had a home. Never felt like home, even though I've had more than opportunities to have that with people that love me. People that love deep down in me, there's a soul. Of course there is. There's a soul that's kind, but it's so masked by the fantasy, the masks, the different suits that I wear every single day. I destroy another 10-year marriage. I had a job within that time. I'm that type of addict. Bill talks about it, and so, no one can tell me I can't do anything. I become a senior sales and marketing director. I'm on 200 grand a year. I'm a guy that, sleeps in bins and shop wells and just does whatever he wants whenever he wants. But yet all of a sudden, in my drinking, in my using, I become a sales and marketing director for one of the biggest companies in the UK. So money, I understand money. I've got money all of a sudden. Does it make a difference? No. Nothing can cure the hole in my soul. Range Rovers, holidays, none of it makes a difference. Absolutely none of it. So I'm in this world. It's funny. I won an award once for something, and it was at a Dicky Bow event. And I sort of remember sitting there with all these tables, and I am sitting there thinking, fucking heroin addict who's just been to prison. What am I doing here? And looking out on this stage, and then it was an award, and I remember going outside, and there was a tramp sitting out the bin, and whenever I see a homeless person, I always sit down with them. We always have a cuddle because it's that human connection. I truly believe in that human connection and that touch, as opposed to money or sometimes food and drink, just that to feel part of. And I'd do that. I'd be in a dicky bow and I'd be in a suit and I'd sit down with them and we'd have a cuddle. And then it's like that thing where I'm thinking, he doesn't need crack. I want to smoke a pipe. I'm going, how about we take the edge off? And then all of a sudden I'm with a homeless person in the back of some bins somewhere, scoring some crack off someone, and I'm smoking crack. And there's a party round the road for me, and no one knows where I've gone, and I've gone missing for days. And this is what I do. I destroy that marriage. I've got a nice big family home. I've got Range Rovers. I've got all the stuff you could possibly want for, but I'm dying inside. I'm so depressed. I'm so anxious. I'm so lonely. And this woman leaves me. She's had enough. She's lonely. And I lose my mind. Another 2 kids, another broken marriage. I'm 40 years old, and I completely and utterly lost my mind. I turned into an animal. A destructive animal that didn't care less. I was so trying to grab this back. It was a year later, and she'd met someone else, and I terrorised those people. They were in a restaurant once, sitting there having a lovely meal, and I walked in that restaurant. I walked up to the bar, coked out my face. I ordered 6 tequilas. I'd done them on the bar. I turned around and I tore that restaurant apart. I turned over every table and I made them feel, and it took many men to hold me down. What am I doing? How does that person that lives that life become the person that sits here? And do you know what? I didn't want to be here no more. And the only option for me was to put a rope around my neck. That's where this party took me. That's where those piano tunes, that elation, that thing, which was great in the start, took me. Because I just wanted the party to go on forever, and it doesn't. But everything we need to recover is inside us. 100%. And I'm here to report 100%. If you are brand new in this room, beyond the walls that we build all by ourselves, you can recover. Because when I'm sitting in that hospital and I can't talk because there's a rope around my neck, amazing thing happens to me. A spiritual experience. I don't know about spiritual experiences or spiritual awakenings until I come into this program, but a spiritual experience happened to me in that place. And oh my God, what did I do with that beautiful spiritual experience? When I got out of this hospital where I tried to take my life, I drank and I used again. Because that's all I know how to do. And I took myself into that even deeper depression. I can't live, I can't die, I don't know where I am. And someone, I think it was Tim, said it earlier. It's the ego that got me in here, or rock bottoms. For me, there's no such thing as a rock bottom. I can't. My kids, my babies, my families, my lives, my wives, my business, nothing can stop me. Being in prison, putting a rope around my neck and hanging myself from a tree. None of that can stop me from drinking and using. That's how powerful this stuff is. I needed a power greater than me, and ego brought me into this. Emotion brought me in. Ego took me into the rooms, because you wouldn't know the darkness of my soul. Far from it. You don't see that person. You see the other Purdy. You see the guy that splashes the cash. You see the party guy. You see the successful guy. You see the guy that I want you to see on Facebook and everywhere else. You don't see the guy that goes home and cries into his lines of cocaine and smokes dog butts out the ashtray till 7, 8 in the morning and is so alone and is breaking absolutely everything in his soul and everything that's around him. You don't see that guy. Nobody ever gets to see that guy. And someone found me 4 days into a binge, heart beating out my chest, crawling around my 1-bedroom flat. And I'd left my front door open and I was so fucking broken. And he tapped me on the shoulder and I turned around and he was like, oh my God, I've never seen anything so scary in my life. I've got a bit more Haribo on me now. I didn't used to look like this. How beautiful that in that moment it was just someone had seen me like that. And he was like, you've got to get help, mate. And he knew someone in CA. I want to talk about that solution for me, my experience, strength and hope. I come into a CA meeting, Zoom, and I heard a message on Zoom. I heard someone share these profound spiritual scriptures, all this peace that I have now, time into my recovery. It wasn't like that. It's never like that at the start. I don't understand this stuff. And I heard someone share, and at the end they said, you've got to get done. You've got to get done. You've got to get done. And I heard it. No big, profound spiritual scripture or what it was. It was just a message from the heart that they'd had enough. And I heard that hope within that Zoom. And I did what they were telling me to do. Put your number in the chat. Get a big book. Get a sponsor. And I put my number in the chat and you walk in, that 12th step. It wasn't a doctor that saved my life. It wasn't a physician. It wasn't some great. It was a geezer with one tooth from South London. He used to say, let go, man. He is high. 100% he is high. But it was, he did. He's worked a program. He was armed with the facts. And you know what? He picked up the phone when I put my number in the chat. He rung me. We make the approach. And he rung me. And he said, and I cried. I said, mate, I need help, mate. I need help. He said, Purdy, you're not a bad person, man. You're just sick like me. Then I'll never forget those words. And this is the speed I come into recovery. And I sponsor the same way now. He said, what are you doing tomorrow? I said, nothing. And he put a big book in front of me and we start this step 1 process. We admitted we were powerless and life had become unmanageable. And we do this beautiful piece of work. Where I'm in this treasure map as it starts to go. And I'm not quite making the sense of the pages of the book, but I'm in and there's things that I'm hearing and I'm listening to. And we're going through it and there's doctor's opinion and the obsession of the mind and the allergy of the body. I'm completely cut off from a spiritual and solution, all these different things and stories and jaywalkers. And there's all this narrative and everything else and instruction and I'm powerless. Nothing, no one can stop me using. My step 1 tells me that. I will drink and use again, 100%. And that foundation that we build on that step 1, I will use again. I am self-will run riot. I have no power. And if lack of power is my dilemma, I need to go into that step 2. I remember finishing that step 1. And at the end of it, this is how quick I came into, because I'm like a ticking time bomb. I'm like a hand grenade. Who knows what 24 hours can bring? At the end of doing step 1, I said to him, mate, I love that. How do I get a sponsor? He said, I am your sponsor and we just done step 1. That's that quick. And that, for me, has been the catalyst to the way that I approach this work. I'm very fortunate to be part of a beautiful group called Spiritual Cartel. And, we get an opportunity at the end where people come in and they speak and they want help. Many people on that meeting that have been sponsored through this and come in and work. And you know what? Sometimes the meeting finishes at 10 o'clock at night. I'm sponsoring someone at 10:30. Love that. I absolutely love that. And that is really, I think Kate said it earlier, I've never not been with sponsees. I've never not been in the book. I've never not been working it in the time that I've been in here because that's where it is. So if I'm not the power, and I'm being honest, and I know that I'm not the power, I need a power. I need a power by which I can live. And this is this step 2 process. Came to believe in a power greater than Purdy. Really? Yeah. can restore me to sanity. From the insanity of the misery go round that I used to live on. From the picking up the first drink or drug when I don't know what's going to happen. I should do, but I don't. Because of the lie that lives inside my mind, the one that always wins the argument, always the one that convinces me that it's going to be different this time. And I look back in the first 43 pages of that book and I look at this list of all the things that I've tried to keep me abstinent that don't do it. And not only have I done them once, I've done them 1,000 times over and it's still not enough. So I'm in. From step 0 to step 1, I admit I'm powerless. I'm starting to build this spiritual home, this foundation. I need some walls on that. Those walls I came to believe in a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. What does that even mean? What does that look like for me? Again, I was surrounded by Zoom and I heard someone come in there and talk about the universe. And I get it. I get it. There's always been a little part of spiritual, not just the acid. There's always been that's not spiritual. I've always been a part of me that's connected. I've got number 9 tattooed on my left arm there. That's from the Massive Attack, Blue Lines album. Number 9, there's a song called Hymn of the Big Will. I'd like to feel that you could be free. I'm not going to start singing, I can't sing. And it's an amazing, if you listen to it, Hymn of the Big Will by Massive Attack. It's track number 9 on the album. And it talks about that. Look about the blue skies beneath the green trees. You know, you will be free again. And there was a time where early days I wanted to take myself out of the world again. And this song brought me round. And it talks about the universe in that. So I had a sort of connection with that universe. This metaphysical magnificence. Because that's my first in. It's not God at the start for me. For me, it's God now. But it wasn't. It was the metaphysical magnificence. It was the universe. It was understanding that I ain't the power. Understanding that look outside my window. I live in Brighton. I can see the sea, the beautiful sea. Sometimes it's still like a mill pond. Sometimes it's raging and the waves are crashing into the beach. If I look past that, I can see the streams. I can see there's a lake that's opposite me, the birds that are flying over the lake, the trees that are around the lake. The way the sunlight breaks through the branches and hits those trees. The way that the grass dances in the wind. So I start to feel that, start to connect with that, start to actually look at that. Start to understand that in the distance, past the hills, in other countries, there's mountains and there's deserts and there's rainforests and there's coral reefs and there's animals and there's all this stuff in abundance, Mother Nature, Mother Earth. In abundance. Up in the sky, the sun. The blue skies turn grey. They turn dark. There's thunderstorms and lightning. The showers come in and these seasons that come in and out. Day turns to night. The stars come out. The moon comes out. The moon that controls the oceans. Past that, the galaxies and the solar systems. The Earth spinning at 1,000 miles an hour round an axis right here, right now. But because of gravitational pulls, we don't fall off. And I'm breathing in nitrogen and oxygen and component particles that are helping me to breathe. Oh my God. Guess what, Purdy? There might be a power greater than you out there. Are you willing to believe? And I'm in. Yeah, do you know what? I'm willing to believe that there might be something. I'm in a 1-bedroom flat. I've got a bird that I'm seeing every now and again. An off-licence down the end of my road. And there's a drug dealer that comes around every now and again. Yet I think you're all thinking about me. And I'm working out what you're thinking about me. And I'm driving myself insane. So delusional. Crying into these drugs. So I'm in. I come to believe. Step 3, that I had to make a decision to turn my will and my life over to God. My actions, my thinking, my behaviours, my motives. How ready am I? How free do I want to be? Am I willing to die to self? Fire the liar and hire God? Because I can't do this no more. It's the last house on the block. I can't do this no more. I've got no one left. In fact, when I was sitting in that hospital, they said, who's your next of kin? I couldn't give them a name. I'm the party guy. I'm surrounded by thousands of people. Not then I weren't. Not when it mattered. Not when it was life or death. When it was a show, when it was a lie, yeah. But not when it was the reality or the great reality. So, I hand it over to the care of God. And we do this process, this step 3. But I'm faking it till I make it. I'm faking it till I make it. I'm pretending. I'm going, yeah. Me and God were like that. Step 3, yeah. Doing the prayers that are asked of me to do. I'm sitting down. I'm just working it. I'm just starting this journey. And that's what it is for me. Put yourself under this pressure, this massive pressure to feel. It's a feeling which comes for me over time. I'm the disease an hour more. It wasn't like that when I came in here. I want sex, drugs and rock and roll now. I want recovery now. I like that Ralph White guy in America. Ralph, I like your coat. Can I wear it? I want to be recovered now. I want everything now. And when I start living like that and searching for it all and in control of, I'm not going to attain it. It's not going to be there. So I need to let go, let God. But this let go process, I think it was Tim earlier as well, addition by subtraction. By taking it away, I get growth, not adding. Not adding all this stuff. It's about the silence for me. That fourth dimension for me is in that silence. Hard for a guy like me that wants to work everything out in his mind, wants to overthink it, wants to, analyze it, study it. I'll come up with a million different reasons why that's happening, and then I'll send myself into self-pity, and all over someone didn't turn up on time. They don't even know they're supposed to be there at that time. But I'll create this world, this illusion, this lie, because the liar lives inside me. So I'm willing, I'm ready, but I'm 100% convinced, without a doubt, that I can't do this no more. So I start this process, opening my eyes, closing my eyes, and getting into that space where I hand it over. And I start having that conversation with this God I don't believe in. This fundamental idea of God that they say is in every man, woman and child. It was in me. Normally when I begged that for help, that was where it came. You know what I mean? If I was in prison or I'd been thrown out of another house or I was so twisted and beaten up from sex, drugs and rock and roll that I begged for him for help, get me out of this situation. God, I didn't believe him. As I come into this fellowship, I start to build this relationship with, and it doesn't happen straight away. I start to go into the fourth step, a moral inventory, searching, fearless, moral inventory. And I start to look at my part. The way that I did the work was very bullet pointy. It was very in there and getting into that column 4. So I could see my part, because I didn't believe I had a big part. In fact, some of it, the people that traumatized me, the people that hurt me, the people that mentally and physically hurt me, how can I be at fault for that? Purdy, you're at fault because you carry the resentment around with you. You're at fault because it makes you angry. I promised I'd never be like those people. I'd never be a dad like that. And I wasn't physical, I wasn't violent, I wasn't nasty, but I weren't there. And they end up feeling exactly the same way. They end up without a father, without a dad. See, because if I don't heal from what hurt me, I'll keep bleeding over people that never cut me. And my step 4 teaches me that. It shows me that. It shows me that is, I'm the problem. I'm the problem. Me. How do I move it? How do I move it out of there? How do I, first of all, accept and understand and then be able to move it? And the steps are so beautifully designed that it teaches us that. So we get into that 6 and 7 and that spiritual seesaw and move forward. In step 5, I get to speak about it. We get to take it to God. Hear me out. Take some time after that. Have a conversation with another human being. Lay it all out. And then at that point, it almost feels like 100%. You take your time 100%. From that point moving forward, everything's down to me. Because we start to do this piece of work. Come into these steps 6 and 7. Entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. And I love that, entirely ready. I love the words. I love the rocketed, entirely. I learn in this fellowship to draw forth the deeper meaning of the words. It comes later. It wasn't at the start for me. I'd read the big book and I'd, have it after having a spiritual awakening and a profound shift in consciousness. I don't know what I don't take any of it in. It's only when I slow down that I start to understand it and really look at the words. Entirely ready. And if I am in step 3, I'm entirely ready. I have to understand that I don't want these things anymore. Therefore, I have to be entirely ready to let them go. So when anything happens, I'm entirely ready to let them go. Humbly ask God to remove them. That in there. That's where for me, that relationship starts. Referencing Tim, he said exactly that for me. I need that personal relationship with something. It manifested from universe and everything in it. Because I love rolling around in the grass and hugging trees and I do all that stuff. I swim in the ocean, but sometimes it's a bit cold. I don't want to swim in that ocean today. I need to have that conversation with someone right there, right then. I need to be able to close my eyes. I need to be able to be silent. And I need to be able to talk. And then listen. So God, I start to build this relationship in 6 and 7. 6, the devil, character defects. Anger. You're angry at me, I'm angry at you. You hate me, I hate you. You send me a text message, I'll send you one back. I'm in that 6. I'm in that swamp. I'm in that quicksand. I'm in that step 6. I need to move it to 7. I did a column 4. I did a column 5 on all my stuff as well, on my resentments, on my fears and my hearts. A column 5 as well, looking at the spiritual principles of it. So I need to practice these spiritual principles in all of my affairs. So I do a column 5. So if I'm in 6, I'm in column 4. I need to move it to column 5. Step 6 to step 7. Shrink, Purdy, grow God. Devil, angel, it's all going on here. This is the 6 and 7, this spiritual seesaw for me. I get to do that with my 10. But what that does is that distribution of that quiet that I start to learn, and I start to feel God's grace. This is something beautiful. When I feel like I'm drowning in my problems, I'm probably just swimming in grace. And in that 6 and 7, I get to close my eyes and I get to really feel that. And I get to have a conversation with, not something that something's written down. I can't do it like that because I want to learn it. I want to run it. I need to just go, whoa. Hey, I'm feeling like this at the moment. I don't want to feel like it. It's a conversation with. This is how I build my relationship with God. 6 and 7. And what that does is it opens up my heart. I start to take everything from here, my thinking, into my heart. I start to take it from head to heart. I start to open my heart up. And that heart, that love, is the 8th principle. It leads me to the 8th step. Who have I harmed? I become willing to make an amends to them and really mean that. And for me, that was a massive thing. Step 9 was a huge part of recovery. Of course it was, because, there's people that I never thought I'd ever speak to ever again. My abusers. How free do you want to be? And do you know what? The blood of this fellowship gave me that love, and it gave me that freedom to be able to stand up. It says in the book, we do not crawl before anybody. How free do you want to be? I wanted to be free. I didn't want to carry this stuff around with me anymore. So I went to my abusers. I walked up that garden path, and I knocked on that door with a humble heart. I speak differently now. Not the street fighter in London, too cool for school, that don't talk like this. I don't speak the way I used to speak. It feels very much that it comes from here. And when I speak, sometimes my hands even go together, especially I'm in a mess situation. Because I want to find my center and I want to find peace. Internal, not external, not avatar. It needs to come from within. And I knock on that door and I see 2 old people, not the abusers that I remember that destroyed my life as I saw it. I get to see 2 old people there. I get to go in there and I get to speak to them. I had a lovely conversation with someone in the room here earlier about it. I get to see them. I get to go in. I get to be of service. I get to put my hands together and say, look, I'm here for you. And if there's anything that I can do to make your life better, please let me know what it is. They say, we're all right, thanks. I make that action amends because I love amends. I love gratitude lists. I love it all. But I need to put some depth into that. I can't just do a tick box exercise. I can't be grateful for butterflies and rainbows and streams and meadows. I want to be in it. I want to make it an action off the back of. I'm grateful for the universe. And do you know what? I'm going to show the universe by swimming in nature, by getting out, make it an action. So for me, the action amends was I'm going to go back there every month and just see if they needed any more help. And I knocked on that door a month later, and that woman answered the door, and she answered the door to me, and she said, oh, you again. And your heart wants to break. You think, you know what you've done to me? But it's not there. It's not there like it used to be. You know what I mean? It's not there. That pain's not there. With a humble heart, I'm like, yeah, just me. Just want to know, is there anything I can do for you? Is there any way I can help you at all? Not cocky or arrogant. I'm Mr. Recovery. I'm better. I'm this. I've found God. Just a humble heart. Can I be of service? They said, no, we're all right, thanks. And I walked away from that garden path and I felt free. It wasn't with me anymore. Wow. Step 10, check yourself before you wreck yourself. I get to constantly be in this, all 12 steps, all the time, looking at what I'm doing, looking at the way I'm behaving. I get to instantly be out. And it's funny now, I say like the Matrix, when those bullets come in slow motion and it moves out the way. I see me being an arsehole. Or I see someone else being an arsehole. It's a beautiful way that your heart softens with this beautiful program, the traditions as well as the steps. Yeah, that tradition 1, I was in a GC the other day and I've got all these great ideas, Purdy. And Someone, there was a young girl, she had an idea about a reading in a meeting that we were doing. And I'd already had that idea. And she said, I've got this idea, we should do this prayer. And I went, don't worry, I've already sorted that. And as soon as I said it, it didn't feel right. Because that's the journey that we go on now. Things don't feel right. Is what I'm about to say or what I'm about to do going to cause greater separation or greater unity? Why did I say that? Why didn't I go, oh, amazing idea. Thank you. See, it's just awareness, and it's fine. I'm going to make mistakes. You know, the problems will always be the problem. In step 10, I have to understand that the problem will always be the problem. It's not the problem that's the problem, it's my problem with the problem. That's the problem. And that's what it is. You can't experience this experience until you've experienced it. I'm good. Oh, bloody hell, we're putting a few of these together. But all of a sudden, you know, I'm aware of it. I can close my eyes. You know, I'm aware. I'm in step 6. That's what my 10's telling me. I'm full of character defects. You're pissing me off. I'm in 6. So it gives me the opportunity to close my eyes, you know, to pause when agitated, and to get into that. I come to believe in a power greater than myself. Step 3, hand it over to the care of God. I had that conversation in 5. I do that through my 11, you know. And what did I do is, and I resolutely, after coming out of that, coming into step 12 to keep me so far removed from 1. That's my program. 10 puts me there. I'm able to live like that, not robotic. Just becomes part of the way that I show up for life. A calmness. From a guy that come into these rooms wanting to rip the noises out of his head. So debilitated. I couldn't speak. Couldn't do this. Now it's like a quiet peace. Now I've got nothing going on up here, but I feel like I could, sorry about that, I could speak forever. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful feeling. In 11, I get that opportunity, that close conscious contact with, that quiet, that silence. Like I say, the answers for me are in the silence. See him without eyes. Know him without mind. I can just be quiet. Re-establish a relationship with my breath. If I don't breathe, I die. Let's take it back to basics, Purdy. Let's take it right back to basics. If you don't breathe, you die. So, re-establish a relationship with your breath. Get quiet. You never know, you might find some answers as answers come. I like writing poetry. Absolutely love it. I don't write poetry. In fact, if I was, you know, imagine, we were talking about it last night in the meeting, it was funny. I'll go into a bar and go, guess what I'm doing now? They want to fight me. But I like writing poetry. I wrote a 12-step poem. It says, never before could I understand what was going on inside me, the mess, carnage, chaos, rage, when all I wanted was to be tidy. I was ripped apart in a struggle with no one to guide me. Was this it? Am I dead? Has my soul left my body? Step 1, I'm powerless. Why is it taking all this to remind me? Did I forget all the pain and the suffering and that I'm not free? My kingdoms, they were built and then they were burned down around me. Please not again. This ain't normal. This is sick me. But sick me is me. Same roots, just the wrong tree. New branches and leaves must be grown to revive me, but I'm scared. Is there a God? So I get down on my knees. Of course I'm here. Step 2, let me guide thee. Relieve me from self. Please, God, help me to walk with love in my heart and peace. This is step 3. I'm not sure how many times in this rhyme that I said me, but with God and the fellowship, switch that me to we, because we stand together on the shoulder of giants. Never before have I felt such love and defiance, unity, connection and strength with one breath. Now I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm in. God is with me. And you soldiers of war of life struggles, and I'm into step 4. Resentments and regrets from a life lived before. Dig deep, my friends, because I know it feels sore. These cuts and these memories, I know that they're raw, and I know it feels strange. We ain't been there before. But God is now with you. You're in the right place. Work hard, be true, release and feel grace. Grace from God as we admit all our wrongdoings, ready to let go and remove our shortcomings, take them right from us, to hold up in heaven. Our weight starts to shift through 5, 6 and 7. I'm open, I'm honest, I'm alive and I'm grateful. 8, 9 comes along and it's tough, it feels fateful because I've damaged myself and so many in my path. My amends to all these people from all the misery and wrath, but be bold, be brave. Just put pen to paper. Let it all out. Be free from the hater. You'll quickly find out, and this much is true, they'll forgive and they'll forget. The hate's inside you. Be open, be honest, explain all those years. You were sorry and caught up in addiction and fears. What could I have done different? What could I have said? Lay it all out, man. Put it to bed. Keep an inventory daily and keep a check on yourself. When you're wrong, just admit it. Take care of your health. Step 10 lets us live there. Step 10 keeps things right. For you to succeed, you've got to fight and take flight. But never forget to drop down on your knees. Meditate through 11. Stay present. Stay free. Your connection with God is a power within. Free from all self-loathing, sickness and sin. Keep yourself in the triangle. There's no going back. Unity, service and recovery will keep you on track. Now you're into step 12. You're alive. You're awake. Your life is so bright and it's no longer fake. So get out there and help people. Give back, men, some souls. This is your path now. These are your goals. And the beginning, a fresh start where your heart now thrives. Get out there and help people. Go save people's lives. To finish it here now with me, turn to we. A breakdown of self and a mind that sits three. Thank God, thank my sponsor, and thank all that I meet. I'm happy inside now, guys, and I'm back on my feet. And this step 12 process, this having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, oh my God, a profound shift in consciousness where I don't want to do the things that I used to want to do. In fact, so much so differently, I'm able to breathe, I'm able to be, my spirituality, as it percolates through me, seeps into others around me, seeps into loved ones, to family members. I start to see the truth from the lie. I give up all the material stuff. I get on the bus. On the bus, I get to see an old couple holding hands. I get to have a conversation with that old couple. And they talk to me about how in love they are. And they talk to me that they're going to see their little grandchild because they bought him a £20 present. I get to see the truth. I get to live in that moment. To get off that, I get to feel the rain on my face. I get to ask God. I get to build a relationship with this guy, this presence, this energy, this power, this thing, whatever it is. I get to have a relationship with. I get to put my hands together in 6 and 7. And I get to feel it and live it and breathe it. When I need help, I need help. I close my eyes. I was on a train once. I was feeling it. It was all over me. This feeling of loneliness. I close my eyes. I ask for help. I work. I get up. I come off the train as a busker. Busy London's moving around and there's this busker and he's singing, "You're worthy of it all. You're worthy of it all." And I just hear, I didn't need a soundtrack to it, but thank you. I hear him. He's glowing. People glow. I see it and I feel it and I stand there and I can cry and I can be in that moment. I'm not sitting there in self-pity. I get off that bus where I saw those old people and I walk and I see a skating rink. I see people skating around on the ice with their families. I don't sit there going, that should have been me. I used to. I should have had all that. I get to see the warmth. I get to see the glow. I get to see the happiness. There's kids running around here today. This is what we do. Oh my God, purpose. Finally, I have some purpose. I know what I want to do. I know why I'm a member of CA. I know why I'm here. To see that. See kids running around. To see mums and dads that are putting their lives back together. That's it, isn't it? Does it have to be more complicated, Dan? I get to see the truth in this fellowship. And it's completely and utterly saved my life. Thank you so much for letting me share. Thank you.